Glad when this day is over. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the hospital. How's everybody feeling? Good, huh? Thought so. Welcome to the hospital. I'm Dr. Tooms. I'm the doctor here. And if you're new to the channel, Dave Diggs History Channel, if this is the first time you've ever been here, good to see you. Hope you like what you see, like what you hear. Hope to earn a like and respect, like and a subscription. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know this looks a little different. This is not the old schoolhouse that we've been doing for the past, what, is it 36 episodes now? For you folks who have been around for a while, a little backstory to explain what this all is. And I hope you like what you hear. Some of this is going to be what you've heard before. For you new people, not quite so much. When I went to work for Virginia's Explore Park, the 3th-century living history park in Southwest Virginia, I was hired on to work at the schoolhouse, Kemp's Ford School, and I enjoyed it. I had a grand time. It's a grand time. Stories, people, interesting people. But I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do something more. I wanted to do something different, like this. And I thought, well, why work here? Why don't I set up a medical site of some sort? How am I going to do that? The park operated with a certain set of protocols and regulations. For instance, in the 19th century area, the year was 1850. Seldom did we ever break that rule and do 1851 or 3. So whatever I did had to be vintage 1850. It had to relate directly to Southwest Virginia. A lot of the history that we did at the park transcended boundaries. It was American history from the get-go. But there had to be some sort of Southwest Virginia connection to it. Now, how do I establish the medical site? All the buildings at the park were taken. There were no spare buildings. Now, there were buildings in storage in pieces, which at some point, whenever money and time became available, we taken out and erected. Time, years. Money, lots. The park wasn't going to go for that. So, okay, now what? Well, I already own all of this, plus a lot you can't see that's off camera. The park wouldn't have to pay very much for this new site. Well, think about it. 1850, a military field hospital during wartime. Well, that's ruled out. There's no war going on here. And we're in the mountains. We're in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a branch of the Appalachian Mountains. And it's heavily wooded, heavily forested. Terrain is up and down, back and forth. A bit on the rugged side. And there's a river running straight through the property. It's the Roanoke River that separates Roanoke County from Bedford County. We had land on both sides, the park did. So let's see, what can I do? It's going to have to be in the mountains. It's going to have to be in the woods. But in what context? I understand there's such a thing, or was such a thing, as circuit riding preachers, circuit riding judges, maybe even circuit riding teachers. But circuit riding doctors, never heard of those. They may have existed, but don't think I've ever heard of them. So think of something else. What can I do to create the medical site with resources that already exist within the park and maintain the context of the mission? Let's look around. I thought I'd take a trip down to the bottom of the canyon because that's where the river was. It was only about 100 yards away. So I did. Now I'm not going to put it up here. It might flood. So what else? I'll have to go back up on the top of the bluff. But while I was down there, I watched train go by. And it was a diesel, and every so often you'd hear it go by, tooting on his diesel horn. I wished it were steam, but that's pretty much out of the question. But I looked up, for your railroad buffs, the railroad in question is the Norfolk Southern, which at one time was the Norfolk and Western, which had bought out, and somebody else's, some of this mergers, combinations. It originated as the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad, which went from, can you guess where? From Virginia to Tennessee. It went from Lynchburg to Bristol, and Bristol sits on the state line between Virginia and Tennessee. And it was under construction in 1850, right down there. Let me think about that. I think I finally hit upon it. The railroad was under construction right through park property at the right time. Now, railroad construction consists of 3 different construction crews. One's the survey crew to look and see where this railroad should go. Can't go like this, can't go like this. Should be as level as possible. Next crew to come through, that's the grading crew. Their job is to grade a path for the tracks to be laid down. And then the last bunch to come through, they're the track laying gang. And their job is to lay down the tracks. And interspersed in all this are carpenters and stonemasons who make culverts and trestles and bridges and cribbing, etc. It all involves a lot of work. It all involves men with tools. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this? This area, at the time when the railroad was under construction, is pretty well backwater area. It's so far away from any established community. There's an occasional farm here and there, but it's sparsely populated. But if any of these guys on the crew came down sick or injured and needed medical attention, in many cases, by the time they covered the distance to get there, they're dead. So medical assistance in the form of me, Dr. Tooms, has to be there on site to take care of things in a timely manner. And that's what this site's about. I pitched my idea to management. I put on a little demonstration, a little show, told them what this was about, and they went for it. It increased the park carrying capacity for tourists. They liked that. I paid for everything. They liked that. It requires no setup. I've already done the setup. They like that. A seasonal can take over at the Kemp's Ford School, allowing me to do this. They liked that. I liked that too. Now, just because there is a new site here for Dave Diggs History Channel, that doesn't mean it's all going to be medical and we've done with the schoolhouse. There are lots more stories, lots more incidents, some of which not terribly good. We might get to them, might not, depends. But as far as the channel is concerned, it'll be a few episodes of this, a few episodes of that, 2 of these, 3 of that, 5 of this, 1. They're all going to be broadcast 8 o'clock at night on Fridays. And what are we going to be learning here? What are we going to be discussing here? Well, medicine, vintage 1850. Pre-Lister medicine is what we're talking about. Lister, Dr. Lister, is the person who figured out and made it stick. You really ought to be washing your hands. It's cold, by the way. It's 21st day of February, 1850. It is miserable. You might want to wash your hands before you entered surgery or dealt with the patient, and not afterwards. But before that time, before Lister's methods became universally accepted, you washed up when you're done because that's when you're dirty. Antiseptic medicine? What's that? Now this happens to be Dr. Lester, right here. This is him in all his splendor and glory. And we'll be talking about him and his efforts, his research, his results. And his results are the reasons why a lot of us are alive today. He's not the only person we're going to be talking about, though. In addition to Dr. Lister, there are such people as Ignaz Semmelweis. This is him. He was a doctor at the Wien Krankenhaus, Vienna Hospital. And he sort of predated Lister, but he had the same ideas and instituted them. And then something really nasty happened. We'll talk about him and what happened. It's not at all pretty, not at all. Now, I portray and will be portraying the part of an allopath. What's an allopath, you might be thinking? Well, stick around for a future episode. You will find out. Allopaths are not to be confused with hydropaths or homeopaths or herbalists or eclectics. The world of medicine in 1850 is very much fractured. Lots of medical sects around. And none of them like another. There's a lot of great hostility between them. So we'll talk about that too. What's in my medical bag? What's it for? Does it actually work? Talk about that. Medical box over there with medicines. And the least you know about that, the better for the moment. We'll get there. But that's essentially what's going to be happening here. It's pre-Lister medicine, which means pre-antiseptic medicine. Lots of things are going to happen. And if I don't make something happen, I just might get frostbite out here. So, because I don't like long videos, and it's cold, and I've done my rounds, and it's late at night, I think it's time to thank everybody for coming, everybody here. Hope to see you again sometime. Hope you can come back, and we'll do some more doctrine. How about that? And until that time happens, whenever it does happen, I have the honor to remain your most humble and obedient servant, Dave Diggs, coming to you from, what is it? What is that? Tarnation, what the? Boys, over here. No, watch the mud. It's slippery. Don't drop him. Come on, right here. Put him on the table. Clear this off. Oh. Something's happened. Boys, right this way, please. Honestly. Let me help you. Tell me, why have you brought... Oh, Lord.